All right, Hill still showing off the arm there.
It's a good job of seeing that flat defender fly out of there and hitting the slant, and then this is what they do best. 4th and goal, quarterback power, follow the big bodies, touchdown Saints.
Saints up 17-9 there, 4th quarter. Hill not done. 1st and goal for the Saints.
And this is kind of the secondary aspect of their game that he loves. You know, no one's open, play action pass. Go be an athlete and create offense for us after the snap.
Yeah, the Saints win 24-9. Hill finished 18 of 23, 233 pass yards, had 10 carries. You expected that. But, Dan, were you surprised by the scheme they put in place for Hill?
Yeah, I was surprised at, how much the offense looked like we believe that you can play a traditional quarterback style of offense. And the great thing was Sean Payton has been saying this about Taysom Hill, and Taysom Hill just obliged. A lot of play-action pass, fake toss. This is a great throw, throwing to space for Michael Thomas, crossing the field. I love that they put him under center as much as they did, allowed some hardball play-action passing. You see him climb the pocket, find Michael Thomas. Again, these are pass concepts that we've asked, how are they going to create chunk passes in their offense? Who's going to be the person to do it? Well, they did it with the play-action pass, and they did it with Taysom Hill. So I love the fact that he believed in him to operate that offense. And like I said, Taysom Hill did a great job looking like a quarterback in 2020 in the NFL.
See, Dan came on here and he gave you all of these technical reasons and showed you scheme and put video up, and you're going to say, oh, that's why Taysom Hill was able to do that. No, we got catfished, y'all. It wasn't Sean Payton. Sean Payton ain't smart. We were catfished. Taysom Hill showed us he was this big brute, this physical kick returner, punt returner, running down on kick team as the R5, a guy that could block, catch passes, run the football. And then he comes out and he could actually play the quarterback position. He looked quite quarterbacky the whole day. He went through his progressions. He made the right reads. He stepped up in the pocket when he needed to. And he didn't just take off running to run. If you're the Atlanta Falcons, there's no way you expected this. Maybe some Lamar stuff, maybe some Colin Kaepernick stuff. But baby Drew Brees, this was new. Taysom Hill was great. He made the throws he needed to make. And when you got a defense playing like that, this is more than enough.
Yeah, if you had told us this was going to happen on Friday, we would all have been like, wait, what? What are you talking about? And Mina, the question is it just a flash in the pan, or is it sustainable for the Saints if Brees is to miss significant time?
Well, I think it depends on your timetable. Is it a long-term solution? We don't know. But is it sustainable in the short term this season? Absolutely. In part because we saw what Dan and Ryan described, which is Hill can execute an NFL offense. A lot of play action, but he was making NFL caliber throws at the intermediate level. But more importantly than that, he has the backing of an elite defense.
Wow.
All season long. You guys heard me at the beginning of the season touting this Saints defense, and they let me down, and I look stupid. But over the last month, they've made me look smart. In fact, they've been the second best defense in the NFL in terms of yards per play, the best run defense, and man, did they look dominant against Atlanta. I mean, poor Matty Ice felt it. He was sacked 8 times, and it wasn't just pressure. He was holding on to the football. Several of those sacks, he was holding on to it, staying in the field, looking for guys to get open. That Saints secondary was incredible. They were glued onto the Falcons receivers. And regardless of what we get from Hill, this is a Super Bowl caliber defense.
First off, Mina, you never look stupid. It just took you a little while to be right. Because now that this team is playing the way that they are on the back end and in the front, they're going to be difficult to beat. And I think the Quan Alexander ad was a huge deal for the New Orleans Saints. They have playmakers on all 3 levels, and you saw it against the Atlanta Falcons that aren't a bad football team offensively. And so if they continue to play like this gives Drew Brees some time to heal. Taysom Hill fills in admirably, and this team's going to be tough to beat in the playoffs.
Yeah, you mentioned it there, Ryan. You just wonder if it gives Drew Brees time to be really fresh by the time they'd really want him back in action. All right, let's bring in Adam Schefter in here. Adam, what way did yesterday's performance shape how the Saints will move forward with their quarterbacks?
Well, Laura, I think that they were always open-minded to the idea that Taysom Hill could be the successor to Drew Brees, and there continues to be a widespread expectation that Drew Brees is in his last season in the NFL. He'll make that decision at the end of the year. They wanted to see Taysom Hill now and for the future as well, because this was a chance to help them win this year and to know what they have for next year. Right now, they don't know that, but they're beginning to know that with Taysom Hill. Also want to add one other note, Laura, that just came in. The Vikings have placed wide receiver Adam Thielen on the reserve COVID-19 list. He becomes the latest player to join that list.
All right, yeah, thanks for the updates there. And let's get to some more breaking news today. Adam Schefter and Ben Baby telling us that Joe Burrow, the #1 overall pick, suffered a torn ACL, MCL, and then further structural damage to his knee and an injury yesterday. Of course, he's out for the season. We'll see exactly how long that timetable looks. We're going to bring in Stefania Bell, medical analyst here for ESPN, for a little more here. And we've heard all of these ways to describe this injury. It sounds real significant, Stefania. So what more can you tell us about exactly what happened to Joe Burrow here?
Laura, it was devastating to see how he took that hit to his knee. Part of the reason there was so much damage is his foot was planted. As he gets hit from the outside at the knee, he's also getting hit on the top of his body, kind of forcing him into a hyperextension, and then you see his knee fold inwards. It's a multi-ligament knee injury, and by definition, these are more complicated. We've heard ACL, MCL, and as you heard Adam Schefter earlier say, potentially PCL and meniscus. When the force goes through the middle and the back of the knee, those are the structures you expect to be injured. But until they get in there and can surgically examine the knee, when they can open it up, that's when the surgeons can fully appreciate the extent of the tissue damage, because there could still be other things that are involved.
Yeah, I realize that each case is so individual to the player, but are there any recent comps, maybe another quarterback who's dealt with something similar?
You're right. They're all individual, and they heal at different rates, and it depends on what they do with the surgery, etc. But we always want to look to guys who have come back from complicated injuries that are fairly similar. So you can look at Carson Wentz. Now, his was an ACL, LCL, meaning the outer ligament of the knee, but he was able to come back, and obviously he's still performing in the National Football League. And to take it even a step further, think about Teddy Bridgewater, who dislocated his knee, meaning there was significant damage to a number of structures in his knee. And look at him, starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. So, there are success stories. There are a couple of keys here. Number one is you really want a surgeon who's got expertise in multi-ligament knee injuries. Dr. Jim Bradley of the Steelers performed Carson Wentz's surgery, and Dr. Dan Cooper of the Cowboys performed Teddy Bridgewater's. They're very experienced with these type of injuries. And then it's the rehab and making sure you don't go too fast. So you're hearing this timeline and people talking about the start of the season, but the number one priority is to make sure that Joe Mixon is fully recovered and ready to play in a football game before he's back on the field. You don't want to pressure him to come back too soon. And you got to think that